Alright, welcome back to Flight Sim 2020 and welcome back to our A2A Comanche 250 and our kind of challenge here where we are trying to get this Comanche from here in Australia all the way over to South Africa. So at the end of episode 1 we ended up over here at Busselton on the western coast of Australia, and today's flight is going to take us, if we have a look at the map here. So we're starting off at Busselton, and today we're doing completely VFR. So we've actually taken a few days off here at Busselton to wait for the weather to calm down because it was just insanely windy. And actually, when I looked at doing this flight before, we were out of crosswind limits to depart from Busselton. So the weather seems to have calmed down a bit. There are a few tiny clouds starting to appear, but other than that, it's pretty clear. There is still a bit of wind, but nothing that we can't handle. So we should have a nice clear day. So we're doing this trip completely VFR. So we're going to go from here, obviously, at Busselton, and we're pretty much just following the coast. But there's a couple of things that we need to be aware of as we do that, because there's a lot of complex airspace as we get closer to Perth. So our route is going to take us up the coast here, and our first kind of waypoint that we're going to be looking for is the town of Bunbury, and then again simply following the coast, and we've got a couple of reference points along our route so we can keep track of where we are. So the next one there would be that beach, Preston Beach, and then into Murrayfield. I think the town is as well as also called Murrayfield. The airport certainly is. And then over here, this appears to be called Rockingham, this little town. So we're going to look for that water feature, kind of dam or lake or whatever you want to call that. From there is where it starts to get a bit more complex because we get all of this restricted airspace. So we're going to start off at 3,000 feet. And at this point, once we get over Rockingham, we're going to descend to 1,000. Because if we look, we've got Perth's airspace here. Going, well, in this section that we're going to be crossing through with 3,500 to 4,500. Then all these restricted airspaces we can get through, except for right at the end, which I'll show you doesn't really make sense. Okay, so we continue to this kind of little peninsula here. We're going to be looking out for that. Here, the airspace, Perth's airspace goes from 2,500 down to 2,000. That's why we're going to be at 1,000 feet. And we're going to stay in that section all the way along, just off the coast here. We'll be able to check out the city of Perth. We're going to then fly along to the harbour, and then we're going to make a right turn and follow this highway. Well, roughly follow the highways, but we're going to be aiming for this water feature over here, this dam or whatever you want to call it, to avoid this danger area over here, which is ground to 1,500 feet. We're going to be at 1,000 feet here, so we want to try and stay out of that box. And then from that water feature, we turn a little bit more to the left. We look for this big intersection over here, all at 1,000 feet, because you can see the Charlie airspace is 1,500 up. And this is where it starts to get a bit interesting. So this restricted airspace over here is ground to 16,000 feet. And then that kind of makes me think, well, we've got to be above 16,000 feet. But what doesn't make sense is these airports that are inside it. So there's Pierce, and there's also the airport where we're going, which is Gingin. They're sitting inside this restricted airspace of ground to flight level 160. So I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to work, if you have permission to go into those, if you're flying into these airports or something like that. So we're going to have to fly through that restricted airspace. We kind of just dodged everything else, but that airspace we are going to be flying through to get into the little airport here at Gingin. So that's our route for today. Also haven't flown the Comanche for a while, so, well, this Comanche, again with all of their persistence and that, it's probably going to be more difficult to start today because it's been sitting on the ramp for a bit here at Busselton, so we'll keep that in mind as well. Right, but that's it for our route. Let's now jump into the aircraft and start getting things set up. Obviously, first of all, we're going to go through our walk around procedure and all of that. Okay, so what we'll do is bring up our tablet with our checklists. Oh, it is super hot in, oh wow, it's 37 degrees in here. Okay, let's get the door open for now while we do this. Is that even going to cool down at all? Probably not, because the outside air temperature is 37. It's 37 degrees. Okay. Wow, this is going to be interesting. Right. Let's go through our pre-flight. Okay, so we don't have any passengers, seatbelts and all that we'll do after this. Okay, so let's go to the walk around and just go and do our checks. Now, I've obviously done my favorite thing, which is to leave that locked. We do flaps. Okay, that seems to move nicely without any weird sticking or weird noises. Same with that. We are actually going to have to fuel up. In fact, no, I don't think we'll have to put fuel in, because there's still a bit in there. I wish we had like a dipstick or something so you could actually tell kind of how much is in there. Okay, but what we can check is that there's no water in it, which appears to be the case. I still haven't had any water contamination. Maybe I shouldn't say things like that. Okay, lights are obviously not on yet. We can do the tie downs. Oops. Okay, I can't actually see any fuel in there. Oh, there we can. Okay, cool. So, I mean, that looks pretty low. Again, I'm not sure how we tell actually how much is in there. Get rid of the chocks. Another fuel test. Yeah, nothing's going to come out there. This happens sometimes. I'm actually not 100% sure why, but that does happen. Okay, our nice dirty Comanche that's been in the Outback. Okay, this is going to be really important. I want to make sure that this isn't like super thick. It's not amazing, but I think it's fine. Yeah, we definitely have to keep an eye on that oil, because so we've got quite a bit of fuel. What's this? This is the left tank. Okay, so we definitely need to keep that in mind. So we're going to be running off the left tank for startup and takeoff, and probably for the most part of our cruise. So that's important to know. Okay, what I'm going to do, let's see, do we have any in the tip tanks? The tip tanks, I think we've pretty much emptied the tip tanks by the looks of things. How did I end up with so much fuel on one side? Okay, there is a bit of fuel still in the tip tanks. Okay, that all looks fine. Yeah, oh no, not flaps yet. We need to do this guy. That seems smooth, no weird noises. Flaps. Same thing, not sticking on anything. That's good. Make sure that that's clear. Looks fine. Right, make sure we get rid of this, because I like to forget that. No weird noises, and that's moving nicely, so that's good. That guy probably not going to move now. Okay, that's also clear. Right, bags, we've still got our stuff already loaded in there, which is perfect. Right, then what I want to do is just come down here. Let's flip this on and check the lights and the pitot. Let's just make sure I find the right one. Okay, so landing lights look fine. Nav lights is on. Let's come this side and check the pitot heat. That is warm. Okay, we can see that strobe is working. Landing light is working, and the nav light is on. Okay, let's get those off before we drain the battery. Okay, then if we go back to our checklist, so pre-flight is done. Passengers, we don't have. Seatbelts, we are secure. Might as well close this, so not that one, this one. And we can lock that. Right. Then, controls lock is removed. Parking brake should be set, which it is. Gear switch should be down. Checked. Flaps up, radios off, autopilot off, avionics. Basically, all of these are off except for the beacon, which is exactly what it says. Circuit breakers, have any of them popped out? Doesn't seem like it. Right, engine start. Fuel selector, we're definitely going to be on the left tank. So we want that one on. Okay, mixture to rich and propeller full forward. Throttle we can open a bit. Carb heat should be off, which it is. Master switch on. Fuel pump on. And check fuel pressure. That's oil pressure. Fuel pressure is this one. Okay, that's coming up nicely. Right, fuel pump off. Primer, I think we're going to give it 5. Just to make sure it starts after the aircraft has been sitting for a while. I lost count. I think that was 5. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to lock it like that. Right. Bags to both.
Clear.
And then make sure the prop area is clear. That all looks fine. And then press the starter. Okay, well, it looked a bit concerning for a second there. But it's now running. Okay, let's just lean it out. Okay, oil pressure's in the green, fuel pressure's up there, oil temperature will come up slowly, same with the cylinder head temperature as well. Okay, fuel, so we've got about half, well, it's indicating about half on the right and quite a bit on the left. When it comes to our tip tanks, we've pretty much used most of the usable fuel in those, so we'll keep that as kind of an emergency fuel. Right, we've leaned the mixture. So, before taxi, prime is locked. You can now turn on the avionics. This guy appears to be charging the battery, which is good. Okay, we can then turn this on. And these guys as well. Not really going to be using the GPS for navigation as such. It's mostly just going to be for reference. I mean, we're not going to be coupling the autopilot to the GPS. We're going to be navigating mostly visually today. Okay, transponder. What is it set to? 0125. Let's just do VFR. It's probably going to change because Flight Sim's ATC thing likes to mess with it, but that's fine. So let's just put it on altitude. In fact, no, that's not what we're going to do here. We'll do standby and we'll turn it on once we get to the runway. Okay, then let's just check that our compass actually lines up. So 20 and 21. Right, we haven't filled up with fuel today, so we get rid of that. Right, today we're going to be taking off from runway 03. Yeah, you can see it's still quite windy. We've got 9 knots, but when I was looking at this last time before the flight, this was showing 18. Sorry, the crosswind was 18. So yeah. Okay, so runway 03 is in front of us, so we're going to taxi to our left here on Echo, and then all the way down to the apron, and we'll just take Alpha and do an intersection departure from there. We don't need to do the whole backtrack thing. I think it'll be fine. So we're going to set our heading to roughly 0. Okay, nav lights are on. Parking brake release and test the brakes as we taxi approach. Okay, here we go on leg 2 of our Australia to South Africa trip. Let's test the brakes. Feels fine. So this is Echo Taxiway here. Then we're going to take the next right. Oh, actually no. This is Delta 1 that we're on. We're turning right onto Echo. And of course there's going to be some sort of vehicle. Oh wow, look at them. Okay, we'll just ignore that. Right, we're going to follow this all the way. At Bravo, we're going to take a bit of a right onto the apron. And then across the apron, left on Alpha, down to runway 3. Let's just dodge this bus. Oil temperature has come up, and so has the cylinder head temp. So those are now in the green. We are on the left-hand tank because that has plenty of fuel in it. Do our run up just before we get to the runway. this is Bravo to our left. So we're not taking that one, we're going to the next one. So we go across the ramp here a little bit. I think these are some of the bigger parkings. I don't know if you'd call these gates stands, but they did have like airliners or commercial operations. This is where they would park, I would imagine. Right, and then we're taking this taxiway here to the left. Yeah, still got quite a bit of wind. Let's put the parking brake on. Okay, so we're kind of into the wind. Parking brake is on. Check fuel, so we are on the correct tank. Mixture. Let's go rich on the mixture. And then we go up to 2000 RPM. So about there, nice and stable. Right, everything is in the green. That's going to come up a little bit more now. Same with that. That's cool. Right, we want a drop of less than 125, so that would be 875. So that's fine. So is that. Okay, difference is less than 50. Right, now we can come back to 1800. Right, make sure everything's nice and stable. All looks good. Check the carb heat. Cool, we do get that RPM drop that we are anticipating. Okay, we can bring it back to 1000. It is still mega hot in here, so I wonder. That is fully open already. Yeah, I suppose letting in air from outside doesn't actually do very much, considering... Oh wow, it's making it hotter. Okay, let's get off the ground and up into some cooler air before takeoff. Okay, controls. Trim, we need neutral, which it is. Rudder trim is 0. Door is latched. Right, flaps, we'll do flaps up. Fuel, left tank. Fuel pump on. Mixture full rich. Prop full forward. Carb heat off. Engine gauges, we checked. We can run up everything's in the green. Right, landing lights and strobe. transponder on. We can go back to the map as well. Okay, so we're going to advance the throttle all the way forward. Obviously use the rudder to keep us on the, as much as possible on the center line of the runway. Rotate at 85, which is there. And then once we're positive, climb, gear up, flaps are already up. Climb out at about 105 miles per hour. And of course, keep an eye out for emergency landing areas. Let's move this away. Okay, so we're going to just stay runway heading until about 1,000 feet, and we can start our slight left turn out towards the coast. Right, here we go. It's nice and windy. Yeah, we climb out at about 105, which is about there. Maybe a little bit faster. Let's get the gear up. Yeah, to be honest, we don't even need to turn left. We're pretty much heading exactly where we need to go already. Wow, very bumpy as usual. Yeah, let's switch off the fuel pump. And we'll come back to 24 inches. And then 2400 on the RPM as well. We can lean the mixture out. Oops, that's the prop. I need to swap these controls around on my flow test. I always go for the wrong one. And there we are, climbing our way out of Busselton. Yeah, we're basically just going to follow the coast here. Most of this flight. Okay, we're coming up to 3,000 feet, so we can level off. just introducing a bit more mixture, try and get that cylinder head temperature down. There we go, that's a bit better. Wow, this really is bouncing us around. Okay. Overshot out 3,000 feet quite significantly. So let's just fix that. The other thing I'm going to do is bring the prop control back just to make things a bit quieter in the cockpit. So I actually like to cruise at 2,000. I don't know if that's realistic, but it's so much quieter. Yeah, there's our 3,000 feet. Wow, we really are being thrown around. Okay, now that the lawnmower outside is done, let's see if we can carry on here. Okay, I need to fix my altitude again. Right, so the next thing we're looking for is the town of Bunbury. And from there we're going to make a bit of a right. Again, kind of simple, pretty much just following the coast. I think what I'm going to do is get the autopilot on, just so that I can mess around with the GPS and stuff a bit. And we can do some fuel checks and things like that as well. But I do want to sort out our altitude first. Oh, I mean, can we ever fly in Australia without being chucked around in turbulence? Oh, actually, I want to get rid of this and we can use the buttons down here. It's much easier. Wow, check at that. This must be so unpleasant in reality. Maybe we just have to do all of our flights early in the morning. It just means for me in South Africa, I'm gonna have to fly at like 1 in the morning. Okay, let's get altitude hold on. Heading mode. Right, altitude didn't work at all. Oh, right, maybe we actually have to be in one of the autopilot modes for the altitude hold to actually work. Okay, so that's fine, we'll fix that quickly. There's 3,000 feet. That hopefully should hold it now. Okay, this is the town of Bunbury coming up straight ahead. And that... Is that? No, that's the little water feature that we were aiming for. Okay, so we're pretty much bang on course. So what I wanted to do is just come down here and zoom out a bit so we can kind of see what's going on. Get a bit of the bigger picture here. So the other problem that I have is I can't ever sync up my headings when it's so turbulent, because this just bounces all over the place. Okay, so let's get this back to about 2000 RPM and around 24 manifold pressure. I can pull the mixture out a bit because those cylinder head temps have come down. Yeah, probably something like that. That is Bunbury below us. So now we kind of want to make a bit of a left turn here to follow the coast. Okay, so next up we're looking for Preston Beach. So the easiest way to identify that is this kind of gap here, or this water here in between the land. I don't know what you call that, but you see it starts again over there. And Preston Beach is kind of all the way at the end of that inland water feature, is what I'm going to call it. Otherwise, everything looks good, so fuel's fine. We're coming down, so I think we'll take our left tank down to 15, and then we'll switch over to the right-hand tank. These we're leaving as is. We're not actually going to use anything from the tip tanks anymore. I mean, unless something goes wrong and we desperately need that fuel, just keep it there as kind of emergency backup. Come over here, we do actually need to recalibrate this a little bit. Great, it's turned it the wrong way. Turning it the right way, just because we're in heading mode, making this way more difficult. a bit better. Always make sure to set that back to heading so that you don't come here to try to change your heading mode and screw up the calibration. Ask me how I know that. Okay, so this is the next thing I was talking about. So kind of at the end of this is Preston, which this is quite different from flying in South Africa, because normally when we're flying in South Africa, I explain stuff like that because I know, because I've been there. Here, this is just because I'm looking at the map. Never been to Australia. Bit of fluffy clouds starting to appear over there. That's the plane wanting us to trim that beeping sound. Wow, this turbulence is horrendous. Everything seems to be running nice and smoothly. Okay, again, this is the A2A Comanche, so we should also be keeping our eyes open for landing areas. There's a couple of like farm strips over there that we could land on. Well, not airstrips, but like patches of land that are nice and flat because they've been cleared for farming. Should probably clarify that when I say this is the A2A Comanche and that's why we should be looking for emergency landing sites, not because the A2A Comanche is bad, it's because all of the failures in that are simulated. So just like in reality, we could have an engine failure or any of the failures really and need to perform an emergency landing. Whereas if you're flying in like the default 172 or something like that, that's not gonna happen. Please let the air stay like this. This is so nice and smooth. Oh, I probably forgot to mention that our flight today is going to be about an hour. Well, it's about an hour's worth of flight time if you fly direct between the airports. So we've already had the engine running for 32 minutes. So we're nowhere near halfway, but that's also obviously because of the time on the ground, and we're not flying directly as the crow flies. We're kind of following the coastline here, so probably going to be a bit over an hour's worth of flying time. having smooth air like this is so nice. Please stay like this. The engine kind of set exactly 24 inches and 2000 RPM. Yeah, so according to our little calculator, we've got, so we're doing 12.1 gallons per hour. Got 40 gallons remaining, which gives us just under 4 hours. So it actually tells us 3.5 hours. Battery's good. What's this? 54% horsepower, I suppose. Right, so that's all looking good. Those little bumps we can deal with. It's when we're getting chucked around like we were in the beginning. That sucks. And I wonder if, because just now we need to go down to 1,000 feet, if that's going to be even worse. Okay, Preston Beach is just up here. We should be able to see a road that comes down to the beach. So there's like a highway there, main highway, and there should be a road that kind of snakes off like this. It goes in between these patches, so it comes through here somewhere. I think that's it. There we go. There it is there. So this then, I think, is Preston Beach. This road like comes down to the beach, so I think this is it here. That looks like, oh, there's actually buildings and stuff down there. See that on the VFR map. Okay, but yeah, so this is Preston Beach here. Cool. What do we see over here? Not much. Okay, so our next waypoint I don't think the town is called Murrayfield, but I don't see a town name on here. But the airport just to the east is called Murrayfield. Oh, that's getting bumpy again. I wonder if it's just because we're over the land now. If we go back out just over the ocean, because I mean obviously the land would heat up and you get that rising air which you wouldn't get over the sea. Is that simulated in Flight Sim? mean, wow, maybe it is. It would make sense. It's a very important part of how the weather works in that. Wow, okay. It looks like that might actually be the case. Okay, maybe we should just try and stay off the coast then. Also, I haven't checked temperature. That I nearly put the control lock. 39, it's getting worse. Did I put the heater on by mistake? Instead of opening the vents. Oh wow, put the defrost on, what a champion. It's still 31 degrees outside here. That's crazy. I hate opening these things because they make so much noise. How does it feel like this door is not locked? Looks fine. Pretty sure that that's latched. Obviously, no aircon in here. Oh, the other thing I never did was put the headphones on. That'll make things a bit quieter. Maybe I can open this a bit more then. See if we can bring that temperature down. Because I mean 37 is ridiculous. That'll cool it down nice and quickly, but it's gonna sound horrible. So we'll leave that open for a bit, see if we can bring the temperature down. This is why we're getting chucked around, because the wind is 50 and gusting 20. Yeah, this is annoying. I don't think the temperature is going to go that much further down because we're 31 degrees outside. Welcome to Australia, I suppose. This is the town over here. I'll try and see. It's not Murrayfield. Oh, it's Mandurah. Something like that. Murrayfield is the little airport out there somewhere. Right, so again, we'll just follow this off the coast, but the next one is Rockingham. That's where we're gonna have to descend to 1,000. is definitely more comfortable flying just over the ocean. So let's see, if I turn this in now, and we cut a little bit across the land here. Let's see if that starts throwing us all over the place. Basically, if you think about it, somehow we need to go all the way across that to South Africa. There we go, over the land. And we're being thrown all over the place. Wow. I mean, considering that it's 31 degrees outside at 3,000, I mean, what will be like 37 on the ground? I can imagine that the land is hot enough to create a significant amount of, or a significant amount of rising air, and therefore this kind of turbulence. I just didn't know that that was actually modeled in Flight Sim. Right, let's get away from this, because that sucks. So now the question is, do we make our trip like twice as long and go all the way around the coast of Australia? Because what I was planning to do is probably the next leg, if not the next one, the one after, is start cutting inland and making our way towards Darwin, where we're gonna cross over. Actually, no, not Darwin. We're going even further further east of Darwin to get into Papua New Guinea. Yeah, we've got a hell of a long way to go. But I mean, all of that means we're going to be flying over land. I mean, we can't do this whole trip without flying over land, so we're going to have to just, I don't know. So I guess the options are fly early in the morning when it's not so hot, or fly a lot higher, which we can do in the Comanche. Also, when you climb a lot higher, we miss a lot of the scenery. Not that we're seeing particularly much right now, because we're flying over the ocean. Right, that's the town. So next up is Rockingham, which we can see over there. That's where we're going to descend to 1,000 feet, which means it's going to be even hotter. And once we get to the harbor, we have to fly over the land. We can't go over the ocean because of those restricted areas, which means we're probably going to be dealing with even worse turbulence. If my theory is correct, and this is just because of the land being hot, and that's causing this turbulence, then at 1,000 feet, we are going to be suffering for the last 20 minutes or so, possibly even longer, getting to the airport. So that's going to be fun. Maybe not that long, 10 minutes. nice and stable. Okay, what I'm going to do, this is our flight time here. I'm going to run the left engine until we get to an hour. We're going to flip over the left engine, the left fuel tank, until we get to an hour. Then I'll flip over to the right one. We run that for 15 minutes and switch back to left 15 minutes, so on. I think in reality you do half an hour, but because this flight is short, I'm going to do 15 minutes to try and keep it a little bit better balance than what we did on our first leg by the looks of things. This is interesting. So now we're getting thrown around even though we're not over the land. But that just could... I mean, it's always windier at the coast. So maybe if we head more inland... I don't know. I think we're just going to have to deal with quite a bit of this on this trip. And we're about to descend as well. So we're going to do another 10 minutes on this tank and then switch over. Yeah, let's get out of this way. We're aiming for that kind of dam lake thing over there. That is the reference point that I had plotted on Navigraph. Descend other side Rockingham there because we've still got a significant gap between Rockingham and where the airspace comes down to 2,000. Actually, it's just before that little peninsula there. We need to be below 2,000 feet. Great, the turbulence. We actually set up a view on this side. Let's start descending. Yeah, we're below 2,000 feet, so we're actually fine for the airspace now. Should actually do here. Okay, Perth's QNH is 1010. So this was our little peninsula waypoint, and then next we're heading to the harbour, which is just up ahead. Coming up to 1,000 feet. Now things are going to get really bumpy because here at the harbour we're turning inland. Yeah, so we're going to keep this water on our right hand side, and we're looking for like a little kind of dam in the middle of the city there. Actually going to slow us down a bit just to make this easier. So it should start asking us to adjust the trim so we can keep our altitude. Okay, so we want to keep that bit on our right hand side. See the little dam we're aiming for. There it is there. So that probably works. Okay, at that dam we need to turn a little bit to our left and try and pick up that huge intersection on the highway there. there's the dam. So the heading we need to go after this is about 10 degrees. Okay, so here's this kind of round lake thing here. We need to be more to our left. And then just other side this, we should start picking up what looks like it's either a big highway with a railway next to it or power lines. And it kind of curves around, so I think it's this over here. Yeah, that's exactly it. And we pretty much need to follow that to the big intersection. Yeah, this small dam we need to keep on our left. So this is the road we're following. Turbulence, I'm actually just going to ditch the autopilot completely. Okay, so next we're looking for the 3 dams on our right hand side, because that's the intersection over there in front of us. With that bridge going across it. Okay, so there's the first dam is the biggest one. And then there's a big water feature. Oh, okay, this what we can see here is a different dam. We need to go in between that and that water over there. We're looking for a pattern of 3 dams kind of in a triangle on the other side of this. you can actually see it on the GPS. So we're going through this gap and we're heading for that dam over there is the one we're heading for. You'll see the third one will appear now on the GPS. Yeah, and from there we're actually heading straight to the airport after that. And we want a heading of about 11 degrees to do that. Okay, so the airport we're going to, which I think is Gingin, is at 247, so we'll do a pattern altitude of about 1,200, which is where we are now. So we can probably just keep that altitude pretty much. So if we go over the middle of that second dam, it pretty much takes us direct to the airport. Okay, we have been going for an hour, so I'm going to switch tanks. Wind at Gingin is 240 at 15 knots. So that's going to give us a landing runway of 26. So we're going to join left-hand downwind 26. So what I actually want to do dial that to 26. Okay, I'm not speaking very much because I'm just concentrating. Not too far from the airport now, so we should see it in just a bit. And then we'll make our right turn onto the downwind. And we are on our right-hand tank. I think we're going to leave it like that for the rest of the flight, which means we'll actually end up with our left and right tanks pretty balanced. According to Navigraph, we're about 6 miles out. Whoa. And it is pretty much straight in front of us. Right there, we can actually see it on the map now, or on the GPS map. Okay, and I can see the airport as well now. Let's go ahead here and join the downwind. And we'll go mixture full and prop full as well. Let's get our first set of flaps in and we'll bring the gear down too. Yeah, we're all set for landing now. Landing lights are on, strobe lights are on. Mixture and prop full, flaps full, and gear is down. Wind is quite intense. Yeah, that's better. Let's see if we can keep it like that. Right, and there we are, down at Gingin. Geez, we're actually quite far from the next taxiway. Yeah, let's bring the flaps up. We can turn our transponder to standby. Landing lights and strobes can come on. Autopilot master can come off. Seems to be there are a bunch of like hangars and stuff here, but I think we're just gonna park somewhere here. There is another apron that side, but it looks like it's also got buildings on it. Oh, of course there's a vehicle that's gonna drive into me. How do they want us to park here? Something like this. Need to be able to get out here though. Okay, let's just do last checks before we shut everything down. 39 degrees, it's 40 degrees outside. Okay, so landing obviously we've done. After landing, flaps are up, strobes off, fuel pumps off, mixture is leaned, trim back to neutral. Okay, and then shut down, parking brake is set, radios off, so we can switch that guy off. That's all. Okay, transponder standby, avionics off, master switch off, throttle closed, and mixture cut off. And then magnetos off. Let's secure our controls. Doors and windows closed, and tie downs we'll have to how do I'll have to do the tie downs from here somewhere. There, and chocks and piezo cover. Right, and we can disconnect our headphones. Okay, nice and hot here. Right, welcome to Gingin, just north of Perth. And that's going to bring us to the end of our second leg of our Australia to South Africa tour in the Comanche, where we've proven that it's a lot bumpier over the land when it's hot than it is over the sea. But from here, I think next what we're going to do, we need to start cutting inland, but probably not on the next leg. I think the next leg we'll go up to Geraldton. That might be a bit short. And then we're going to head inland. So I'll see, I'll check out the planning for the next route and see if we're going to head straight inland from here, or if we're going to go to Geraldton first. I think it just depends. Geraldton, that's probably like only a 40-minute flight. It's actually probably about the same distance we did today, so we might do that and then start heading inland. But we'll see, and we're going to make our way all the way up to kind of as far north as we can go in Australia, and then hop over into Papua New Guinea through there, so on all the way around until we get to South Africa in about 2 years' time. Anyway, if you did make it all the way to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you do want to kind of follow along with the tour, you know what to do down below, and I'll see you in the next video.